Hey, early childhood educators. This video is for you to help you think about how children develop. One of the basics that you need to know are characteristics of children so that you can understand why they behave the way they do, why they want to do the things that they do. Once I discovered these basic stages and developmental stages of kids, it helped me so much in my teaching, so I want to share it with you today. You can go on the website and find the characteristics chart. Now, I didn't make up this chart, okay? Teaching in Church Weekday Education produced this chart, so I want to give them all the credit. But if you've ever read Luke 2:52 in the Bible, it says, Jesus grew in wisdom, in stature, in favor with God, and in favor with man. And when you think about that verse, what that's saying is Jesus grew in wisdom. Mentally, he was growing. He grew in stature. Physically, he grew in favor with God spiritually, and he grew in favor with man. That's social development. And if Jesus grew that way, guess what? We grew that way and are still growing that way, and so are all of the children that we teach. They're growing physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. And you want to get that thought in your mind, because your goal as a teacher is to help develop the whole child. And when you're thinking about teaching the whole child, you're thinking about every one of those aspects: mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. Today in society, we are pressured to teach our kids mentally, make sure they can read by the time they're 2, not appropriate, and they've got all their ABCs memorized. Yes, those things are important, but so are social skills. So is spiritual development. So is the physical development, because that physical development is tied to mental development. So what we want to do is think about the whole child. So I want you to print out this chart and look at the age group that you teach and think about, how did God create them? How are they wired? How are they developing physically, their little bodies? For example, when you look at an infant, their physical development, they crawl, they scoot, and they climb. How many of you have taught in an infant room where you have a little baby that's just learning how to climb, and they want to climb on the high chairs, they want to climb on the rocking chairs, and you're like, we've got to promote this child. We don't say, oh my goodness, stop climbing. No, that's how they develop. So think about each stage physically. When you look at, I love to look at our 2-year-olds, for example, when it comes to emotional and social development, listen to a 2-year-old's developmental stage. They exhibit negativism. Do you know what that means? No. Have you ever heard a 2-year-old say no? If you haven't, you need to go meet some 2-year-olds, because that's what 2-year-olds say. They exhibit negativism. So what we want to do is redirect their thoughts that are coming out negatively and help them express what they're thinking in a positive way, or help them understand what their basic need is in that moment. But that's where 2-year-olds are socially and emotionally. Now, look at our 4-year-olds. You got to love these 4-year-olds. Let's look at spiritual development. They can listen to Bible stories. So if you're a faith-based teacher, if you teach at your church, if you teach in a weekday program that's faith-based, if you're a parent and you're a believer in Jesus Christ, tell those Bible stories. Actually, you should start that way over here as babies and work it all the way across. But look, they can listen and they begin developing a conscience. So when they do something that's not appropriate, guess what? They're going to feel it inside a little bit. So you'll start to notice that. So I want you to learn what the basic characteristics of preschoolers are. Know it in your heart. And let me just share with you a little point, because when you look at our toddlers as we close, as you look at our toddlers, you'll notice that they show great independence, that they're learning mine and does not understand yours. Do you know what that means? That means for a toddler, their favorite word is mine, mine, mine. Have you ever heard the toddler property laws? Let me just read these to you right quick. This is how a toddler thinks. If I like it, it's mine. If it's in my hand, it's mine. If I can take it from you, it's mine. If I had it a little while ago, it's mine. If it's mine, it must never in any way appear to be yours, because it's mine. If I'm doing or building something, all the pieces are mine. You can fill in the blank. If it looks just like mine, it's mine, or if I saw it first, it's all mine. If you're playing with something and you put it down, it automatically becomes mine. But if it's broken to a toddler, it's all yours, because that's the developmental stage and characteristics of toddlers. Each age and stage is different. So if you're a parent, know the age and stage of your children. If you're a teacher, know the age and stage of your children, because we're all about developing the whole child. And the more we know where they are in their developmental stage, the more we can help them. Have a great day and learn those characteristics.